Just too good. We can't hang with their stuff. Not that I disagree. I can't disagree. Audio courtesy of the UH Browns Radio Network. I think that 100% of Browns fans or 99% of Browns fans would agree. The only thing I disagree on, I just want to think, and I don't know. So I'm making an argument for something I don't know that he knows. Now I'm sounding very Rumsfeldian here. I don't know if he's ready to go. When he's ready, he plays. That's where I'm at. So if it happens to be this week against Green Bay, which, boy, if he's already ready week 3, it's like, why wasn't he ready week 1?
Well, I was just going to ask that.
You were going to say
I was literally thinking about that.
I knew it, yep.
Like, why didn't he start week 1? Well, it's because he's not ready, and he's not good enough right now. But fans have seen Flacco. They know he can't move, and they're 0-2, so what's the difference?
Well, he couldn't move last week. That's the thing. He couldn't move last week, so we were like, maybe there's still some magic left in them legs.
I also think Baltimore is a lot more talented defensively, a lot smarter defensively, and the Bills tore him up, but that's the Bills. There's a huge difference. Look at Detroit. What happened from week 1 to week 2. They're just playing a different team, a caliber of team, and they put up 50-some points. So your competition does matter. And Flacco looked good at times against the Bengals. I know they didn't score enough points, but it was always going to be a much, much tougher task against the Ravens on the road, just like it'll be a very, very difficult task in week 3 with the Packers at home.
It probably is too early to go to Dylan Gabriel. I'm not trying to rip you guys who are like. I think when I see professionals, it's like, well, no matter what you try to do, guys, they all get thrown in the deep end. Yeah, there's when you're playing in a real NFL game, there's no water wings, there's no floaties. It's like, nope, you go right in the deep game or right in the deep end. And to me, it doesn't matter. Like, there are killers on every single defense. There's guys who you have to take seriously on every single defense.
Even the Bengals have Trey Hendrickson.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, you know what? I thought about it. Like, Deshaun Watson, do you remember his first game with the Browns? It was like, all right, Houston, this is the best case scenario. And it wasn't in Houston? Was it? And he was.
I thought it was.
He
was in Houston.
He was abysmal. Kenny was like throwing ground balls, and it was so bad.
No need to think about it. I know for a fact we wondered why they would have him go back to Houston. The NFL.
Oh, wait, you're talking Watson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you meant Baker. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So even when you think you have the most ideal setup, I mean, eventually, I agree with you. I know where you're going. Like, no matter what you do, it's going to be difficult.
If we're looking for ideal,
I'm just not. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my bias showing. I just don't think Dylan Gabriel is going to be good. I think he's a poor man's Kyler Murray. Do you remember DTR's first game? And DTR started 50 games in college.
Yeah.
And DTR had skills.
Yeah,
and
he played against Baltimore.
And he was a 5th-round draft pick.
But he wasn't ready.
And he looked like he wasn't ready for football. What do you guys think Dylan Gabriel's going to look like?
He got thrown out there. It was a
weird.
surprise.
It was a weird
situation. He wore a skull suit, so I don't know how much that was.
I remember that's when we knew that DTR thought he was going to play. Yeah. We analyzed the suits that he wore because if he wore like a jogging suit,
he wore a T-shirt and jeans.
He wasn't playing
previous weeks.
But if he wore a suit that day, he was playing. That was right. If we want to do it perfect, then I guess maybe Miami, October 19th. I don't know what Pittsburgh is. They look kind of weird defensively. Do you want to start him at Pittsburgh week 6? Is that okay? Like, you see where I go with that? Like, I go, guys, it's not that big of a difference. Like, this is a good defense that we have, but if you look at the totality of the football team, it's like, yeah, they're 0-2, and this looks like this is going to go really, really, really bad. And that Kenny, and let me say this for everybody. Yeah, I lied to myself the week before the season. I lied to myself. I let myself down again because I don't like being a bad guy. So we had plenty of people going, why aren't you getting, where's the Super Bowl, Super Browns? Like, they wanted to get excited for the season. And I'm sitting there. At first, I was saying, throw the winner. I go, I think they can win 6 games. I think they'll line up and they'll try to run the football. I didn't know Quinshon Judkins wasn't going to be available to us throughout the training camp. But I thought they'd try to line up and run the football. Still had a lot of those guys left. Didn't realize that, maybe they're starting to get a little bit old, or maybe our wide receivers aren't what they're supposed to be, so they're not the threat that they were when you had, Nick Chubb, one of the best in the business, and you had 2,000-yard wide receivers for your football team that both had to be taken seriously, and then you had David Njoku to work with them. Now it's David Njoku, Jerry Jeudy, and tumbleweeds. Maybe Isaiah Bond someday. I'm probably just being a hopeful Browns fan with that. You think?
Well,
right now?
Harold Fannin.
Harold, yeah, but I'm talking about...
Well, you put David Njoku in there. You got to put Harold Fannin.
David's the veteran. That's so. I'm sorry, you're right.
Well, Harold Fannin's the one that's making plays on offense right now.
You're right. David, Harold, Jerry, which is still...
That's the problem. Your second
excellent.
tight end is your offensive threat right now.
So if you want to put him in against Miami week 7, I don't think you're going to make it week 7, but if you want to put him in week 7, go right on ahead. By the way, if Shedeur said this, I think he's a freaking genius. Hit it.
All said, a consensus had been reached. The Baltimore Ravens, were planning to select Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round with the 141st overall selection. But when he found out, he got word back to the Ravens that he preferred not to go to a place where he would be competing and backing up Lamar Jackson. He wanted to be in a place that he could play. And so when the Ravens got that message, they pivoted, went a different direction with the 141st overall selection. And 3 picks later, the Cleveland Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, who will be in Baltimore today, where he could have been spending his NFL career if he were willing to back up Lamar Jackson, preferred not to do that. And so Shedeur Sanders will make that trip to Baltimore today. Could have been a Raven, but he's a Brown, 3rd string on the depth chart.
Audio courtesy ESPN. Genius. Man's a genius. If he said in the postgame that was the first he had ever heard of such a thing. Here's Shedeur.
I don't even remember anything post-drive. I remember I'm here, I go to practice every day, and, it's a 24-hour rule.
Did that catch you off guard to see that?
What?
Just that report that when that came out?
I just found out since y'all told me.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it until he told me.
So you are a little surprised to hear that?
Nah, I don't really. It serves no purpose in my life.
So I don't necessarily think that Adam Schefter's lying.
I didn't hear a denial there, did you?
No. He said this is the first he's heard about that. Doesn't mean he didn't think it.
First he's heard it was reported.
Listen, give him credit. Because if Adam Schefter is right, he's a genius. Shedeur went to a play. We got into a big fight with the Shedeur fans because I'd said that they're not trying to sabotage, not on purpose. They're not trying to sabotage Shedeur. Their process might be messed up, but they're not trying to sabotage Shedeur. And I said, this is a perfect scenario for you. Name a better place for you if you want to play and you want to play early. Go ahead and play the tapes. Name a better place where you're going to play and play early than Cleveland, Ohio in the NFL. And if that is true, what Adam Schefter just said, then he is absolutely a genius. You don't want to go and back up. He would back up Lamar till when? Playing garbage time. Mm-hmm. Might start the last game of the season. Okay. They would hand the ball off.
Although the funny thing is, Lamar's backups have played.
Tyler Huntley made the Pro Bowl.
Tyler Huntley played a bunch, and they do blow teams out and get guys in the fourth quarter.
And they do get guys in. And hell, he might have came in against us yesterday for all we know. I mean, hell, think about that for a moment. But if he wants to actually show what he's got instead of just, hey, garbage time, being taken care of, yeah, Cleveland's the one it is. But why if he wants to start and make big money sooner, Cleveland's where it would be.
Why would
if he has
an
that much
NFL
confidence in
team
himself,
care whether a guy wants to be somebody's backup or not? If they think that he would come in and give them potentially another quarterback that could do the job successfully, why would the Ravens go, he said he doesn't want to be here, guys, so...
Well, the Ravens I'm sure the Ravens just thought he doesn't want to be a backup. He doesn't have the right attitude.
Well,
it's hard to believe
quarterback. I don't think it's hard to believe at all, especially considering that, a big part of the discourse about Shedeur was how badly his team had botched the whole process. And if he's out there being very selective, you're already not considered a first-round talent at that point. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, well, he keeps dropping. Why does he keep dropping? Is it whiteboard stuff? Are they worried about the processing? Or was he really damn selective? And if he doesn't want to go to a world-class organization that has some of the best ownership, one of the best organizations in all sports, Baltimore, what are the other teams thinking when they're catching wind on something like that?
Well, they didn't catch wind on that until pick 141, which is what Schefter just said in the clip.
If this
and they
is
picked
true,
him in pick 144.
True. But if this is true, then he had got to the point where he just wanted a chance to play and play sooner than later. Cleveland's the best spot for it. You're going to sink or swim at some point because at this rate, you are absolutely going to play. Hell, I was guessing by Thanksgiving. We We might be talking Halloween.
Yeah, but can
by
we
then.
stop?
It might be a real spooky time.
Can we once and for all stop with the talk of collusion around the NFL doesn't want... No, they just don't want a guy who's not the most talented at that position in a bad quarterback draft being very selective on where he wants to go. Like, there's a lot of teams that just aren't going to touch that. And by the way, I got to credential 10 of your buddies to come in and do a film crew and then report behind the scenes and film for a documentary. Like,
for games?
Guess what? Teams don't want that. Teams don't want anything to do with it. So it just becomes an unwanted distraction at some point.
Hold on.
And look, it's not that I think he has been a distraction in Cleveland, but do you think Kevin Stefanski loved the fact? Hold on. Do you think the NFL? Do you think the Browns like the fact, Kevin Stefanski in particular, liked the fact that the Browns were in the A block on the national shows every day about whether or not they're holding him hostage?
No.
Like, Kevin Stefanski's got to be like, what?
But we're talking past the fact of the report,
He's the third
though.
or fourth string quarterback, guys.
The report was that the Baltimore Ravens wanted to draft him, and he said no. It wasn't anything about his team or anything about the cameras that he brings in. And I know what you're saying. We've all lived this for how long now? But that's not what the reports were.
Well, so now
you're just muddying it up with this. Well, he brings cameras and he brings.
But
in
it's all part of the experience,
and
it's why he didn't get picked until where he got picked. He has nobody but him and his team to blame for that reality.
Okay.
That is a reality. And the kid. I love the story of the kid. I do, but. At some point, we have to recognize the world's not out to get Shedeur Sanders. He made his bed. He made his bed. Him and his team made his bed. And now he's on the Browns, one of the worst teams in football. And he's not going to get on the field anytime soon.
The credentials and things like that aside, because if he were supposed, when we were talking about him being the number 2 overall pick, number 1 overall picks, I know Cam Ward's a pretty quiet person, but yeah, they get a lot of people credentialed to their football games when they're quarterbacks. So that doesn't throw me off. But I think that it could be as simple as this without trying to be too dramatic about it or taking the drama out, which I'm probably not supposed to do as a radio show host. The Ravens might have just thought, he wants to what? Well, he's not going to start here. He's going to back up Lamar. Well, then if he doesn't have the backup's attitude to just develop here, then we're probably just going to have to let him go after camp, and we're just going to waste a 5th-round pick. So we'll just use the 5th-round pick on somebody else. And then he has a situation in Cleveland where Cleveland was one of the very few spots he could have went to that, he's probably going to start sooner than later. So if his whole goal was to start as soon as possible, he's a damn genius.
All I know is
I didn't know it was going to go this off the rails this quickly, but I think a lot of Browns fans
he was
did.
the only. What is he on the depth chart? 3rd.
He's 3rd.
He's the only number 3 quarterback on any team in the league to have microphones and cameras in his face after a blowout loss. Like, this is only happening here.
There was a report.
This is only happening here. It wouldn't be happening anywhere else.
Find me a report.
Of course it's Cleveland, and of course it's the Browns.
Okay.
Where the 3rd-string quarterback is conducting a press conference after a game that he only was on camera like one time during the game.
Well,
by the way, they're carving out practice time now for Shedeur Sanders to get some work in at the end of practice. So instead of actually getting ready for the Ravens, who beat your ass in week 2 and has everybody wanting to fire the coach and the GM, we're sitting. Is that part of practice or is it tacked on?
How many coaches
practice
do you have that can't
ends.
work with the guy?
Now we're going to do another segment. Why don't we get ready for the Ravens? Can we get ready for the Ravens game?
They got ready for the Ravens.
Yeah, did they? How'd that work out for them, Ken? How'd that work out? Let's carve out some more time for 3rd-string quarterback. Where's Snoop Huntley? Where's Blake Zappi? Do you want to get those guys in?
You couldn't beat the Ravens.
Oh, it's Bailey Zappi. I'm sorry.
Wait a minute. You're not going to devolve this into me having to yell over you.
Let's get more.
That ain't going to work.
Let's get more practice time, and let's have practice go 10 hours to get all the quarterbacks the reps they need to get ready for the season.
Well, you're the guy who told me that they didn't have any talent
here?
And they don't have any talent.
What is the plan for the Cleveland Browns here?
The decision on that one.
Because that is embarrassing. Do we want to have the 5th-string quarterback get press conference after another blowout loss?
2-15 this year, is it really going to matter that they spent extra time with Shedeur Sanders at the end of practice?
Totally normal. Guys,
no, it's not going to matter.
Everything's totally normal and fine here. 3rd-string quarterback does a press conference after a game.
If there's a report about Easton Stick from Adam Schefter, I don't even know where Easton is. He still with the Chargers?
Get some cameras in front of him.
If there's a report about Easton Stick from Adam Schefter before a game, you're going to have some cameras around his locker at the end of the game. But there's no reports on Easton Stick from Adam Schefter before the game. There's a report about Shedeur Sanders. And so they asked him, wasn't like they made him available. He wasn't at the podium, was he, Owen?
Seemed pretty available.
No, that was at lockers.
It's at the locker room.
Hey, let's get to the heart of the matter. What happened here in Baltimore today? Let's get Shedeur Sanders out here.
As a person who has had to gather post-game sound and actually has been in a locker room, you are available to walk up to anybody.
Yeah.
You are available to walk up to anybody who's in a locker. That's the way it works. He was at his locker. They saw the report from Adam Schefter. He's a big name and a big story, and anytime his name is mentioned means clicks. So they decided to ask him. This is not hard.
A big
I don't know why you're.
He is not a big story.
You're demonizing him for a story to be out about him.
No,
you're demonizing him.
Why did they draft him, Kenny? Why did they draft him? What did they do?
We will eventually find out.
Why did they draft him after they drafted Dylan Gabriel? We're talking about all the holes this team has on the roster, and we drafted 2 running backs and 2 quarterbacks. Meanwhile, we have no replacements on the offensive line. And makes absolutely no sense whatsoever what they were doing in this year's draft when it came to that.
And in the end, when they finish 3-14 again, you will say, what does it matter? See, you're mad now, but at the end of the season, you'll say, what does it matter? Just like you said after the Ravens game and earlier this morning. What does it even matter? Why are you getting that upset, Ken? I'll use your own logic against you. What does it even matter? We're probably moving on from all these guys in charge anyway. You decided to take a risk on a guy who fell to the 5th round. I don't know why you're smiling over there. It's starting to boil my blood.
It's just
and
insane.
at the end, Anthony Lima will
such a
say,
Cleveland Browns thing.
What does it matter? As mad and as much of the Browns thing as it is, Lima will go, what does it matter?
Wizard's gonna wizard, man.
Yeah. I'm up on your tricks. You may fool them. You may be able to fool the FBI, but you can't fool the FBI, brother.
Me once. Shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
He's not even getting the scout team reps, from what I heard this week.
He got some of them.
Yet he's getting the press conference after the game. Totally normal situation in NFL football.
He did get the 50-second Adam Scheffler clip on this show.
It's not a press conference. They approached him in the locker room.
Okay, Kenny.
What do you mean, okay? That's the facts of the matter.
Standard stuff. It's totally standard.
Your Honor, the facts show that they...
I saw lots of third-string quarterbacks getting interviewed yesterday.
That's how you do something a lot.
I'm sure Stefanski's loving that.
You took the LSAT, and that was going to be your cross-examination?
I am sure Stefanski is totally loving the fact that Shedeur Sanders is getting press run. And again, now that'll get played. That'll get played all day today on the
Johnny
networks.
Cochran run. He just looked at Marshall Clark and went, yeah, okay.
That's definitely going to work out for him.
Okay.
Totally normal.
Okay, yeah, totally normal. Yeah, totally normal behavior.
That's defending this, which is hilarious.
Okay, Marsha, okay.